Welcome to the Confessing Baptist Podcast, a podcast by Reformed Baptists for Reformed Baptists. Get more headlines at confessingbaptist.com. And now on to headlines for the week.
Yes, that's right. You heard it. Howdy, y'all. This is Jason Legato, one of your co-hosts here for the Confessing Baptist Podcast. Welcome to the headlines from a Dunker Bunker. And today is May 3rd, 2014. That's a Saturday. And that is one day away from May 14th, which is Star Wars Day. Why? May the 4th be with you. Yes, may the 4th be with you. Also, today joining me, you probably heard that familiar laugh. Who else is joining me today?
Hey, this is Junior Duran, everybody. How y'all doing?
Well, you know what, Junior? You always ask that question, and today, for our Star Wars episode, I actually have a reply.
Good morning.
C-3PO.
Good morning. Goodness gracious me. Good morning. Please don't deactivate me.
Yeah. Yes. So I found a Star Wars soundboard, so we're in a lot of trouble today.
So for the Lord's Day tomorrow, on May the 4th, I'm expecting people to preach from the Gospel according to St. Luke. That's what I'm for Star Wars Day.
Why is that exactly?
No. But God is our Father.
I'm your father.
Oh, man. Yes.
Or die.
Well, you know, there are a lot of faith themes that Darth Vader does,
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
That's right.
Yep.
And that's totally biblical right there. Lack of faith is disturbing.
Faith is disturbing. Yes. Without faith, it is impossible to please God.
That's right.
Oh, man.
God is disturbed by your lack of faith. Oh, Jabba.
Yeah, so anyway, it's just us two. Let's see. We don't know where Javi is. He's probably sleeping. It's funny because we actually switched this over to Saturdays for Javi.
Specifically, yeah.
Last 3 days, or last 3 weeks, he slept in. So
he's a newlywed, so when the kids come along, he'll be up bright and early, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He does have one kiddo coming along, so.
Yep.
It'll be soon. Patrick is doing some college stuff. I think he has finals next week and papers. And Jonathan serves in the Army National Guard, the Texas Army National Guard. So he has duty this weekend. So we thank him for his service. And with that, we move on to let's start with some events. And maybe, let's see. I'll have R2D2 intro you.
Okay.
He's not stopping.
Well, thanks, R2. Yes, you're correct, R2. There is a conference coming up. It's October 27th to the 31st, which is, Reformation Day for us Protestants. And the conference is Creeds and Confessions. It'll be in Las Vegas. It's hosted by Reformed Baptist Seminary, and it features Dr. Haken, Dr. Nettles, Pascal Dinal, Tom Askell, and, of course, Rob Gonzalez of RBS. It's a 3-credit course on symbolics, and symbolics is the old school term that we use for creeds, confessions, systematic theology, it's like that. Symbolics is a course that I think Dr. Waldron teaches. But anyway, so for RBS, we're going to have, again, Dr. Haken and Dr. Nettles on, what else, right? History of creeds, confessions. That's their specialty. And Dr. Gonzalez will address the biblical basis for creeds, and provide exposition of the confession's doctrine of Scripture. Pascal Dinal will lecture on code theology of the confession. And then again, finally, Dr. Askell will expound our confession's chapters on the gospel and the church, as well as some pastoral issues, and confessions and catechisms. So again, this will be at First Baptist Church of Las Vegas, Lakes of Las Vegas, Nevada. They will host module. Again, so it's a 3-credit course. October 27th through the 31st, which I guess is like a week, probably a weekday. And it's a good Reformation Day getaway for you and your family if you want to go out there, maybe. I'm guessing. $75 for auditors, $50 for students. Is that right? That can't be right. Is that right?
Right.
Usually it's all the way around. Isn't it like students are more expensive than the auditor people who audit? You people can audit for free some courses.
Yeah, true. But this one is, I guess, because the student's already paying tuition, so I guess.
Right, that makes sense. I can see that. So check it out. It looks fun.
Yep. Yep.
All systems have been alerted to your presence.
Yeah. So, oh man, there's a great C3PO little sound bite here that it's something that would be so appropriate. It just depends on whatever you say though, Junior, because we always make. Well, I won't give it away in case it's there. I'll just.
Okay.
But anyways, another conference that we highlighted was one taking place June 6th through the 7th, 2014. It's the Attributes of God conference. It's in I don't even know how to say that word. Cazenovia, New York.
Sounds good.
Cazenovia. I have no idea where that is. Someplace.
That's where Dracula's from. I don't know.
It's funny because I almost said that's Castlevania, but it's not. It's just a game.
Do you have the theme from that one? Do you have the theme music from that one, Castlevania?
8-bit vampire theme music, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's better. It's funny because we you know how 24 is starting back up Monday, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, my wife and I did a little stalking last night. Like we catch up on all the episodes, watching some summaries online.
Okay.
Whatnot to kind of get caught up to speed. We've seen them all. We love that show, and so we started looking to other movies that Kiefer Sutherland had done, and I forgot.
Oh yes.
Lost Boys. I was like, man, that's an old classic vampire movie, and she had never seen it, so we watched a couple clips, and she's like, wow, that's freaky. That's not the Jack Bauer I know, but anyways, I digress. So what were we talking about? Oh yes, June 6th through 7th, 2014, Attributes of God conference in Cazenovia, not Castlevania, New York. Randall Easter and John Speed, and those two pastors pastor 1689er churches, and Randall Easter is actually here in our area, and John Speed are in New York. So they're going to be talking about the attributes of God, including sovereignty, goodness, holiness, immutability, wisdom, grace, wrath, and love. Each of those is going to be a session. And they're not the only two pastors there, but they're the only two pastors I know of that are for sure 1689ers. I'm not sure about the other ones. Some of the other pastors include Richard Dickinson, Tony Miano, Bill Deckert, Jeremy Jackson, and then some of the other speakers will speak twice. So,
right. Yeah, I first heard Randall Easter preach years and years ago when I first moved to the area, and he preached at a Reformation conference at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth, and he just blew me away. I've been a fan of his ever since, and he's part of the, I think he's part of the SBC, and I think he's part of the Spurgeon Fellowship Association or Spurgeon. There's a 1689 fellowship, and they call themselves the Spurgeon Fellowship. But he's part of that group of churches. Really, really great preacher.
Yeah. He's a really good preacher. So
I hope we're going to interview him. I think Jonathan was going to interview him pretty soon.
Yeah. Doing something with him.
Okay, so those are upcoming conferences. One conference that has passed, we're going to highlight right now, and we have the audio up. It's the Association of Reformed Baptist Churches of Quebec. They had a General Assembly, and the theme was The Mission. It's in English and French, and it features Gordon Taylor. So let's see here. It took place April 22nd to 23rd, which is what, last week? Week ago?
Yeah.
Week ago. Yeah, it's pretty recent.
The ARPGA General Assembly, the American.
Right. Well, under that, and so we had three audio segments up. One was the theology of missions. The second was Millions Dying, and the third was Let the People Praise God from Psalm 67. So check those audio out from the last Quebec Reformed Baptist Churches of Quebec General Assembly.
Yeah, and I actually had and Pascal Deneau is interpreting those, so it's in English and French, as you said, and I actually had a chance to listen to those just because I was curious about the audio quality, so I started listening to it, and I kind of just got hooked on listening to it. It was just
cool.
Straightforward preaching on missions, really, really good stuff. So I really like the emphases, I should say, and things like that. So,
might I inquire what's going on?
So, news. Well, yeah, I should have a news center. I should actually use that in the news center. That's a good one.
That is good. That is.
Might I inquire what's going on? Oh, switch off.
Yes.
Oh man, I still want to binge watch Star Wars now. Anyways, news, really the only news this week. There wasn't very many posts we had actually this week compared to last week. We had probably like 50%.
Oh yeah, tons.
But really the only news this week was Logos, that Baptist Covenant Theology collection of the 17 volumes that we've talked about for months and months. And it made it, and then it did it, and then it made it, and then it did it. And I have great assurance from the company now through different people at the company that they got the final price up finally right, and it's good, and they apologize, and they felt bad that it was going all haywire on them. But the collection did finally make it. It barely crept over it this morning, actually. They were pushing it pretty hard. They were doing blog posts about it. I saw emails going out about it from Logos, advertising this Baptist Covenant Theology collection. So it did finally make it. It's currently at $30, and that's going to be, well, when it gets into production, then it's going to be $169.
Woo! That's crazy.
$181. Yeah, so this is the
$30 is a deal.
And if more and more people, that jump in on it at this time, then the cheaper the price goes down. And you have until Friday midnight, that's Pacific Standard Time, this Friday, the 9th, May 9th, to jump in on that deal. And if more and more people get in, then the price can go lower. So I actually have my bid at $20 because I can't even afford 30 right now. I just had 2 cars in the shop, so I'm hoping it gets to 20% or to $20. It gets lower. So check that out. And also, I should say that there are some publishing companies looking into printing some of these in physical book forms. I know some people want these in physical books, and those same companies may or may not even offer those in ebook in how should I say, more open formats. So
yeah, more open. Yeah, opener.
Yoda. Okay, wait, real quick. I wish the other guys are here because they're all Star Wars nerds.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite Star Wars character, Junior?
Oh, my favorite would it be Yoda? Let me try to think. Okay, I don't want to be obvious. I'm just like, oh yeah, Yoda. Let me try to think here. I kind of like Han because he is a rebel. I like Han. He's your anti-hero. You know what I mean? Like the Dark Knight.
Right.
So he's a good guy, but a rebel at the same time. That's why I like Han.
True.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
His best.
Oh, you know who else is cool? Okay, wait. You know who else is? But this guy is smooth. Okay, so Han is like one, like close second is Landau, Calrissian, I think.
Because he's the smooth.
He's smooth, man. He's smooth.
No, dude, he sells them out, man. He's a rat.
He does. No, but no. Does he? Okay, but wait. In episode 6, right? He comes back and saves him, right? Doesn't he help them out?
He does, yeah. He
does sell them out, yes. In 5,
yeah.
He helps them.
Yeah.
There's some redemption in 6.
Yeah. So,
and then I think the third one is the bounty hunter.
Wow. Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, yes, Boba Fett. Well, no. Yeah, Boba Fett or his father. I'm thinking of his father. I think maybe.
Jango Fett, yeah.
Yeah. I think his father. I like his father.
Episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And 3.
Right.
Yeah, he gets his head.
And it's so cool. Like I don't want to give it away for you if you haven't seen it, but his father is a really important to the Empire.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So speaking of Star Wars characters and religious, look.
No. Who are your favorite characters?
Oh wait, hold on real quick. Since you said Han Solo, I'm going to play his religious war.
Okay.
Advice.
Okay.
This probably comes from the Proverbs.
Don't be a fool!
It does come from Proverbs.
And then this one is probably, well, he's a rebel, so I don't. Yeah. Well, let's just hear this one.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, no, my favorite's definitely Yoda. I love Yoda. I love all his little wisdom sayings.
Patience!
You are reckless.
Yoda! Yes!
Yeah.
You know what? I watched
his quotes, but
Yeah.
I'm quoting them at my kids and my wife. I'm like, do or do not. There is no try. I just
Right.
voice, so it doesn't sound as, I don't know. It's just odd. But they don't know Star Wars too well. Like yeah. No, I would definitely have to say Yoda. I loved Darth Maul just because he was mysterious.
Yes.
I didn't know much about him, but he was just this awesome looking bad guy. You know, double.
He's like the Melchizedek of the Star Wars canon, because you don't know much about him. He just comes out of nowhere and disappears, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy because in the books or the comic books later, he actually doesn't die when he gets chopped in half. He winds up kind of force saving himself, and he gets a robotic lower half of his body. It's really crazy. Kind of like that other Jedi guy. But anyways, oh man, I could get off on Star Wars for a super long time. Okay,
so let me ask you this about Yoda. So here's your favorite. So you remember when his first fight scene? Like, were you aware that was going to happen before you saw it?
True story. There's been 2 times I've ever stood up in movie theaters and yelled and cheered like it was a World Cup soccer game or the Super Bowl. I'm not a big sports fan, but no, I camped out for all the original 3 Star Wars. Like I camped, watched them first thing in line. You know, we were dressed up. We were playing Star Wars trivia with all the nerds outside.
Yeah.
I mean, line wrapped around the theater. You know, and at night all the lightsabers were lit up. People were just fighting, having fun, just super party. And when that was episode 2 when Yoda came.
Right.
There was hints that he was gonna throw down, but I mean they kept that under wraps really good. And so midnight. You know, everyone's pumped anyways. Like even the first one, like if you looking back at it now, it wasn't that good, but you were just excited to see new Star Wars stuff on the big screen. So we loved it anyways at the time. But as soon as Yoda, kind of force pulls his lightsaber, whole theater stood up. Like it wasn't like those. Like sometimes there's standing ovations. You see one guy do it, then kind of out of peer pressure, a couple people do it, then more.
Yeah.
This was instantly everyone stood
at once. Yeah.
They all looked at their friends like you can see everyone looking around like this is not happening. And as soon as he unleashed that thing, I mean, fist pumping, cheers from the crowd, dude. It was intense, dude. I mean, it was like a concert. And then once you start seeing him do all the flips, oh, dude.
Yes. Yeah. Ninja style.
Yes, he
Ninja style. Yeah, that was crazy. It was
great. Oh man, we're so distracted. Star Wars Day is distracting. Technically, it's tomorrow that's Star Wars Day. But it's also the Lord's Day, so I'll be doing the Lord's Day all the rest of the week. But today is free comic book day. So if you go to your local comic book store,
today is good.
Comics for you to check out. I mean, and there's some Star Wars ones. Every year I go, there's Star Wars ones. My kids will pick up different ones.
Oh, didn't I go with you last year? You and Kenya?
Come on. Maybe that was 2 years ago. Because I remember last year bringing Judah and Anton as well, and I think one of them got a Star Wars one, the other one, Kenya got like a My Little Pony.
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, because I went with you and Kenya once to Free Comic Book Day. We went to that North comic book store on the north of Fort Worth.
Oh yeah, that's a great.
Maybe that was 2 years ago.
Yeah. So, anyways, Baptist Covenant Theology, it made it. So.
So speaking of worship and the Lord's Day.
yes. Let's move on to some book stuff.
So speaking of worship. Oh yeah. So we talked about this last week. If you're not already subscribing to the RBAP feed, RSS feed, you need to. They have been teasing us with blurbs from their upcoming book, Recovering a Covenantal Heritage, Essays in Baptist Covenant Theology. And Dr. Steve Weaver out there at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary has a piece entitled, his chapter is The Puritan Argument for the Immersion of Believers, How 17th Century Baptists Utilized the Regulative Principle of Worship. And this is a pretty, if you're any kind of Baptist at all, whether you're covenantal or dispensational Baptist, you'll know that it's not, baptism of infants is not commanded in Scripture. So that's an old argument. So he pulls from John Norcott, John Spilsbury, Hercules Collins, citing the regulative principle quoting from Calvin. And so anyway, it's good. You want to check that out. It's a good argument that we've been making for years. Standard Baptist argument. So check that article out.
Yep. Good stuff indeed. Moving on to some of the audio we posted this week. We already mentioned our Monday audio dump was that audio of the Reform
Quebec Conference.
Quebec, yeah. We had Mike Gadash, who is the founder and owner of Solid Ground Christian Books, and we actually recorded this at the Founders Conference. Were you there in the room, Junior, when we recorded this?
I don't know. I had a cough. I was doing allergies at that time. I was in and out of different interviews, but I'm a big fan of Mike Gadash and Solid Ground Books. if you're ever at a conference and he's there, be sure and talk to him. He's got tons of he's just a wealth of information. This guy.
Yeah. All the books he brings to the conferences, the book table he sets up, he brings just so much stuff you've probably never seen before, authors you may have not heard of, some of them you may have heard of. But he's just a wealth of knowledge, and he will not that he's like a salesman. I mean, I know he's selling books and that's his living, but he's not like shady. He's excited about what he's done about. Yeah. He's excited about these gems he's recovered and reprinted. He really has a passion for it. And so when he starts describing a book to you, you're just like, wow, I want to read that. I want to
exactly. Yeah.
I want to see how that author talks about that. Just like and all the books I've gotten from him that he's explained to me and told me about, I've never been like, well, his opinion, I didn't really agree with it. That was kind of lame, actually. The book about when he was talking about Richard Newton, I believe, who Spurgeon said was the prince of preachers to children. That guy's excellent, and it's crazy because it's just a simple sermons. He talks about Bible animals in the book we got, and my kids love it.
Yes.
To them, like they remember it. Like it's crazy. Like we read through it once, and then weeks later, one of my sons was like, "Oh, I was trying to be content like the lion was in that story."
Aww.
I was like, "Wow, I didn't know you knew the word content." Like that's crazy. But anyways, it was funny because a couple different people told me, they're like, I was initially going to check out this interview because I was just like, Solid Ground. I know about Solid Ground, but he gets into depth about some of the books they've republished and stuff you've probably never heard of and stuff that you'll want after you hear it. And so I actually had. There's a lady I ran into earlier this week. She goes to our church, and she was like, "Yeah, I was going to ignore that one, but then I heard, I was like, man, that was one of the best. Like, it was just so much fascinating information, just a wide variety of topics. He talks about so many different books. So, I mean, we linked to them all. So if there's any you're interested in, they're all there. I mean, we hit everything from Baptist Covenant theology to Islam to everything. Just books for children, books for family worship, just for your own edification. Spurgeon gems that he's recovered. Stuff that's never been printed by Spurgeon, or extremely rare stuff that's it had one printing hundreds of years ago, but now it's back out. Really cool stuff. So with that, they used to have a blog. Well, the blog's still there, but there hasn't been anything on it for several years.
Right.
They put out 7 short video promos. Short, like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes max, where he talks about some of these books that they really want you to know about. And it's 2 of them I think we talked about, but the other ones, it's basically it would be an extension of our interview. He talks about some more books, and in about a year's time, I think we should just try to interview him again. Well, maybe at the next at the Founders Conference, because he's area, and just be like, all right, tell us about more books you just put out and coming out with, because I'd love to hear from him. He's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to books. So
if he's ever at a conference that you go to, y'all, be sure again to talk to him and bring some cash or checks, because he has deals at conferences that you won't get on his website. For example, I think I want to get Ussher's Systematic Theology, Bishop James Ussher of Ireland. I want to get his book, and he had for so cheap at the conference, and so this year, if Mike is there again, I want to get that. I'm going to pick that up. I always want to get that, because I know that informed the Westminster Confession of Faith, which informed the Savoy, which informed the London. So.
Yeah, because every now and then he has books that aren't on his site that he came across through trades or things like that. Like he had Spurgeon's favorite. I have it over there. I forget who the author is, but it was Spurgeon's favorite commentary on 2 Peter, and it's a big book. Like it's like the size. Phone books are getting smaller and smaller.
They are.
It's a big book, and he was selling it for like $15, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, this is out of print. They don't even make these anymore. I'm carrying around this copy. It's on sale." I was like, "Oh wow, sweet! I want this." So I wound up getting it. But anyways, enough about that. Let's move on to Ask Reformed Baptist, and actually C-3PO has a question for this.
Might I inquire what's going on?
Yes, C-3PO. So Dr. James White has put up a series of four videos that lectures he gave at New Hyde Park Baptist Church, and it's Jesus, the one way of salvation. So why one way? Why just one way? And it's something that this is a question that as a non-believer, as a unconverted, unrepentant, non-Christian, as just a pre-salvation, I guess I always has, why one way? Why can't what about these other ways? And so These are 4 videos. Be sure to share them with your friends. I mean, if you have any people in your family, friends, whatever, neighbors who aren't Christians or maybe think they're Christians but they're not, I mean, share these videos with them. Why one way? It's a common question for non-believers.
Yeah, it was really good. I actually had the chance to listen to this, and it was interesting because I usually listen to audio, and I have an app on my audio. I can have it speed up, so it can play it at 1.5 speed or 2 times the speed, or even more depending on how slow the guy talks. And I recently I remembered that this feature was there, but I couldn't find it. But I recently found it again on YouTube. If you watch a YouTube video, if you actually click on the settings right under where it has like the, I want this in 360 or 480 display or 720.
Yeah.
Of that is the speed, so you can actually play stuff at a faster speed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You can
Is it like a little cogwheel or something?
Yeah. It's in the so you can slow it down to like 0.5, or you can play it at normal by default.
I didn't know that.
But you can speed it up to 1.5 and 2 times speed. So I was really thankful for that because you can get through a lot more audio that way.
Yep.
So I wound up listening to those at like twice the speed, and yeah, those are really good. And I hope to one day make a kind of on our page have like Christianity 101 links, that stuff that we've linked to, because this would definitely fit under Christianity 101. He answers some basic questions, really good, and it's even really good for just your own apologetic, because these are common objections and answers that come up, and he always just has really pithy ways of helping you explain it, because he always role plays a little bit when he's explaining these things. Like, well, when someone asked me that, here's what I asked them. Like he brought up one really good point of saying, like, if there's more than one way, then how foolish is God to send his son to die on a cross if he didn't have to go through that? If he didn't have to do
right.
Like that would be the epitome of foolishness, Like,
right.
So you're saying my God is a fool for doing that, and there was a better way, and you could have thought of it, and he's really good at turning the tables and things like that. But anyways, yeah, that was our Ask a Reformed Baptist question. Really good. The last session he dealt with the most common objections today, so he got into the whole issue of homosexual marriage and things like that, all those issues, and it was a Q&A, so people were asking him really good questions. So very helpful stuff, really good.
Highly recommended. Yeah.
Definitely highly recommended. So really the only blog stuff that was going back and forth this week, and actually started last week, was
right.
Emir Canner talking about Andrew Fuller, and we brought up a little bit of this last week in the Baptibot feed, but there is more interaction between Haken, Dr. Canner, and who was the other guy who responded? It was, I can't remember. Allen, yeah, Dr. Allen. So.
Of course, yeah.
They were on the SBC blog, SBC Today blog. So that's a highly read blog in the Southern Baptist world. I think it's safe to say that. So it was interesting to see their interaction. They were going back and forth, linking to each other. So good, healthy dialogue. Very interesting. Tom Nettle started a series about that, and he basically brought up the point. He's like, hey, if these guys embrace Andrew Fuller, then the debate's over, because Calvinist. So, but obviously they're not reading him that way, so he's correcting some of their mistakes, just like Dr. Haken was. So really interesting stuff, really good. We also linked to our audio when we had Paul Brewster on. This was episode 8. This is really early in our podcast, where he interacts with similar claims with Erwin Canner on the Georgia Baptist Convention history. So that gets into the Sandy Creek stuff, the myth of 2 Southern Baptist streams, things like that, the church at Cherokee, or I forget what it was, but I started re-listening to it again. I was like, man, that was a really good interview that Javi led. So, but anyways.
Yeah, I mean, so it's okay to be a Baptist and be Armenian. I mean, that's okay. But I think the concern here is a rewriting of history. I think that's what the concern is.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, like if you don't want to, if you want to be a Baptist and you don't like the Reformers or something, don't go to a blooded trail. Don't try to prove that or try to change it.
Right.
Don't go to Sandy Creek stuff and change it up. Or Andrew Fuller wasn't a Calvinist. He wasn't Armenian or Calvinist. He was just Baptist or something like that. 'Cause that's
right.
Yeah. Don't.
Right. Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah. Just a Baptist. Yeah. We're not Protestants. We're Baptist. Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I've heard that before.
So moving on to our Baptibot here. I actually found that audio. Remember I told you last week, like,
yes.
Audio, but I found it.
Now some headlines from the Baptibot.
Nice, right?
Who did that?
Me, dude. Me. I just yeah. So. All right, good.
All right, so just couple quick. Jason, I'll take care of these real quick.
No for it.
So from the Baptist, first from Pastor Robert Truelove, what are head coverings and how do they apply today? So I think that Pastor Truelove is not pro head coverings. He discusses, okay, this is what he's discussed. So what are they? What's Paul speaking of? Is a hat qualify as a woman's hair? Is it something else? So read that. It's his interpretation of that text. But real quick, I'm going to give you my opinion. Regardless of what you believe about head coverings, right? Whether you're for them or against them, I would like to remind you that there's more to that passage than just that. Because in that same passage, it talks about women. I think women or men. Yeah, men having short hair and men having long hair, and women having short hair and women having long hair. So if you think men should not have long hair, then you think men should have short hair, then you should also tell your older women not to cut their hair. That's what I think. Because there was a point when I had a ponytail and people were getting on me at church. And they're joking, but they refer to this passage. And I said, well, it also says, that women's hair is a glory to God. So why are these old ladies have short hair? So don't, you should, not pick and choose your text. That's all I'm saying. I have short hair today, though. I have short hair today.
Technical with me. Don't get technical with me.
That's awesome. Okay, moving on. Michael Haken he posted a little short piece through about 3 paragraphs at the Law and College on the ideal home. He brings up Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien, and I wonder what he went by. Did he go by J.R.R. like in his life? Is that how he went? A.J.R.R. But he talks about the ideal home and Tolkien's life, and you want to check that out. I thought it was nice. Also, Pastor Tom Hicks pointed us to a blog post by Rich Lusk, who is with the Federal Vision New Perspective, and his post is entitled "Rich Lusk and Justification by Works, Not Faith Alone." So, what Tom Hicks asks you to do is read Rich Lusk's piece first, and then come back to his blog. And these are some critiques of by Tom Hicks. So first, Lusk denies that the law requires perfect obedience, which is important. 2, Lusk denies that sin breaks the law. 3, Lusk says that Romans 2:13 teaches justification by works. 4, Lusk teaches that our personal works of righteousness must be added to Christ's righteousness for justification. 5, Lusk especially rejects the classic distinction between justification by faith alone and final vindication by works. 6, Lusk expressly denies that God's strict justice will be applied at the last day. 7, Lusk weakly claims that he isn't teaching work salvation. So what do we make of all this? And there's a final two paragraphs. This isn't such a problem with Baptists as it is with Palo Baptists, but it's something to be aware of, and I would caution people about reading other Federal Vision, New Perspective works. Again, it's more a problem with Palo Baptists than it is with us as Cradle Baptists, but just something to be aware of that you should know it's out there.
Yeah.
Finally, and I'll get to you, Jason, in a minute. Finally.
Hold on, look, I want to comment on that last.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tom Hicks, if you've been following his blog, I know you have, Junior, but for the last couple of years, he's interacted deeply with the Federal Vision guys. And
who's this?
Tom Hicks, Pastor Tom Hicks.
Okay, yeah.
Go back through the archives and stuff like that. He's been interacting and talking about them. He's obviously well read. He obviously knows what he's talking about. He's dealing with them very fairly, I think. He's taking them for what they say, and he's interacting with what they say. He's not trying to attack their character or things like that. He's not like a heresy hunter and one of those guys or something. But he's interacted a lot with Federal Vision and New Paul Perspective stuff. Really good stuff. And yeah, like you said, it's not an immediate Baptist problem, but I know a lot of Baptists who have, it can be. It shouldn't be, but sometimes it is, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and the reasons why, excuse me, the reasons why, or the problems with it. Well, I'll read you one of them. A couple of them. Let me go back. So problems with this is so denial that the law requires perfect obedience. That's wrong. Let's see. If you're teaching justification by works, that's wrong. And some of those other things. These are heretical, I think. But and they apply to us as well. I mean, there's a reason that Paedo Baptists reach these conclusions. I think they're trying to be consistent with their theology of who is in the covenant and why they're in the covenant. But some of these other issues could are dangerous for Baptists as well.
So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. So finally, on the Baptibot roundup, again, this is just a highlight of things that we posted on the Baptibot. So there's more out there, but these are just a few of the three. Episode 13 of the Credo Covenant Fellowship is an audio podcast, and on this issue, they talk about how they came to covenant theology. I want you to listen to that. Did a little discussion. I listened to Billy's arrivement at covenant theology is weird, like backwards to me of how people get there.
No, he's totally.
But I thought that was cool. Or was it? And JD had another interesting background. So check that out. That was a good podcast. I liked it.
Yeah.
All right. And Jason, do we have any winners yet, or no?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, our big way for a lot of that stuff from Free Grace Baptist or Free Grace Press, like the Kingdom of God, Baptist Covenant Theology and Biblical Theology, Baptist Thorough Reformers, things like that, Fatal Flaw, the Church-Wide Bother. The first winner is actually interesting. The first winner that was randomly picked from the giveaway thing was Richard Barcelos. I was like, oh, that's funny. So I emailed him. He's like, oh, look to someone else.
That's cool.
I was like, oh, that's so funny. He won. But yeah, some of the winners have been picked. I'm waiting for replies from all of them because there's several. And it's one of those ones that's going to take a while because it's first come, first serve. They pick 2 books, and then whatever ones are left,
that's right.
So last time we did something like that, it took me like 2 weeks before I got all the info, just because I'm for replies and stuff. So we'll announce those once we're guaranteed we got all the names and stuff like that. Real quick from the Twitter feed, a couple things of note, stuff we've talked about, but minor updates. Tom Chantry posted this week that there is about a week left to get 40% off of Holding Communion Together by pre-order. The manuscript is at the printer, so they're expecting that next week, I believe. So 40% off. Let's see what that is. That means you can get it now for $14.95. So that's the pre-publication special. Just like all stuff, after pre-pub, it's going to go up. So. And another Twitter update was the Whitfield's The Great Awakening Conference from the Andrew Fuller Center, their big conference every year. Now, we told you about it, but now you can actually register for it. So at first they just put out the info, but now you can actually register for it. The site is live. All their websites always look great for their conferences. I love whoever does the graphics and stuff.
And I think Jonathan's going this year.
Yeah, probably. He went last year and he loved it. He said he's like, yeah, you can listen to the audio, but there's nothing like it's a great time of fellowship. All those brothers are just so great, so loving, and he really loved it. Like he couldn't speak highly enough of just the fellowship he had at that place. So
right,
good stuff.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
So with that, I guess we're done. Do you have anything else, Junior?
I will let you do the sign off, but y'all have a good Lord's Day tomorrow, and I think Jason wants to say something to y'all.
May the 4th be with you.
I am your father.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Confessing Baptist Podcast. If you would like to submit a question to the Ask a Reformed Baptist segment, please email us at confessingbaptist@gmail.com or through our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, or Google Plus page. For these links and more, please visit us at confessingbaptist.com. Soli Deo Gloria.
I won't fail you.
Laugh it up.
We're doomed.